of Spennymoor Town Council. The first item on the agenda is apologies.
Councillors Flynn and Mrs. Beethoven.
Good. Item number 2, declaration of interest. No?
None received.
Item number 3, public questions.
None received. We move on to standing orders.
Thank you. Item number 4, minutes. To submit and if approved, confirm as a correct record the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Town Council held on Tuesday, 16th of December 2014.
Mr Mayor, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of the Town Council held on Tuesday, the 16th of December 2014 be approved and confirmed as a correct record.
Thank you.
Chair, I have a hand up, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just for a point of clarification, which we have discussed with Councillor Bell, I think you understand where we're coming from. His statement to item 9214 was very long and precise. We did respond to the fact that we said we did not agree to the draft budget under certain circumstances. We would like to have had that clarified that we did not agree with the budget on the basis that we did not agree with another 12-monthly allotment consultant. And while we ask for this clarification was later on the draft budget, we will be bringing it back up, and I just would like to say that please. We thought, with the hope, maybe we did not make it clear that that should have been in the agenda.
Second those minutes, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Item number 5 is the Mayor's communications. You've all got a schedule of what's been going on over the last month, and I have no further comment. Item number 6, the committee minutes. To receive and approve as a correct record the minutes of the meetings of the undermentioned standing committees of the Council. The first one, the Allotments Committee, held on the 6th of January 2015.
Mr Mayor, fellow councillors, members of the public, I'd like to move the minutes of the allotments meeting on the 6th of January as a true and correct record.
Thank you.
Mr Mayor, I wish to second those minutes.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. Next, the Finance and General Purposes Committee held on the 6th of January 2015.
Mr Mayor, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to move the minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee held on the 6th of January as a true and correct record.
Second that.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Next, the Planning and Highways Committee held on the 13th of January 2015.
Mr Mayor, fellow councillors, members of the public, I'd like to move the minutes of the Planning and Highways Committee meeting held on Tuesday, 13th of January as a true and correct record.
Second those, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. And finally, the minutes of the Service and Amenities Committee held on the 13th of January 2015.
Mr Mayor, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to move that the minutes of the Services and Amenities Committee held on 13th of January 2015 be corrected as per the sheet that's been circulated in the chamber, and with the agreement on that correction, that the minutes will confirm as a true and correct record.
Mr Mayor. Councillor Madison.
Yes, Chair. I would just like to make some clarification on the reason for the motion 7814 being amended. In accordance with standing orders, all amendments to a motion should be moved and seconded and a vote taken on the amendment. This was not done. As a point of clarification also, it should be noted that it is my understanding that legally no councillor and town councillor can make decisions themselves without the support of the town council and would be personally liable for the financial consequences without the support approval of the town council. Any failed motion could not be brought back to council before 6 months has elapsed, with any earlier special resolution needing to be endorsed by council who have already voted for the motion in its entirety to be rejected. And I'd like that noted in the minutes.
So just a comment.
Yeah.
The motion's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour? Thank you. Item number 7 is the Performance Management Action Plan. Members are requested to receive the schedule referring to decisions taken at meetings held in January.
Mr. Mayor, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I move that the Performance Management Action Plan be received and ordered.
Second that, Mr. Mayor.
All those in favour? Thank you very much. Item number 8, correspondence. Members are requested to consider email from A. Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I begin by thanking Mr. Gardner for his questions and for the time and effort he's taken in researching this area. In light that Mr. Gardner has in fact asked 3 questions in his correspondence, I hope it's appreciated that we've been as helpful as possible in agreeing to consider this item as an item of correspondence rather than as part of the public questions procedure. Doing so has meant that we can provide answers to all 3 of Mr. Gardner's questions today, which standing on 13 wouldn't ordinarily have allowed us to do so. Mr. Gardner's first question asks why the council feel it's so necessary to exclude press and public at such a high percentage of meetings. The exclusion of press and public is provided for in the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960 and is agreed only in appropriate circumstances as according to law. The council typically exclude the press and public from meetings when either discussing the engagement, terms of service, conduct and dismissal of employees, terms of tenders and proposals and counter-proposals in negotiations for contracts, preparation of cases in legal proceedings and in the early stages of the dispute. It's been necessary for this council to exclude press and public on a number of occasions over the last few months. And yes, this is comparably higher than both Barnet Castle and Great Aycliffe Town Councils, but unlike any of those 2 authorities, we're in the process of an overall organisational review, and that's involved decisions that have had to be made in personnel matters, employment terms and conditions. Again, unlike both Barnet Castle and Aycliffe, this council has been involved in 2 cases of allotment litigation, which have rightfully been discussed under exclusion. In line with the vision which I presented to council last June, and the principles of my report on the openness of local government, I've asked the town clerk to review the procedure for reporting tenders to council, with the view of increasing transparency and accountability in this area. The review procedure will be to provide full details of tenders to members prior to the meeting, of which anonymous details can be provided in reports at meetings, thus eliminating the need for exclusions on those items. Mr. Gardner's second question, in it he asks if there is a reason why Spennymoor needs substantially more meetings than our neighbouring towns. For a local council that's active in providing a wide range of services, the need for a greater number of meetings I think is self-evident. Barnet Castle Town Council don't provide as many services as we do, and that's reflected in their precept. In contrast, Great Aycliffe Town Council have a larger precept than we do and provide additional services such as a golf course. It's noted that Great Aycliffe operate on a 6-weekly cycle meetings rather than our monthly cycle, and therefore it's expected that they have fewer meetings of the standing committees than we do. I don't believe there's any benefit in us reducing the number of meetings, and indeed we've got benefits of having our monthly cycle over a 6-weekly cycle. Decisions can be taken more often, and therefore business can be transacted more efficiently. There's no benefit to the people of Spennymoor in engaging elected members less in the work of this council. The members' allowance scheme is not linked to attendance, and there is no attendance allowance. fewer meetings, which should mean less openness and less transparency. Mr. Gardner's final question is in regards to up-to-date and easily downloadable information on our website. The Council recently appointed a Finance and Administration Manager who has identified a staff training opportunity that has resulted from when the Principal Resources Officer and an Administration Assistant moved on from our organisation last year. Steps have now been taken to bring the website up to date, and in line with the Council vision, the IT Working Group are currently considering proposals for an overhaul and a redesign of our Town Council website. This will make it much more accessible and useful for the public. Mr. Mayor, I hope that I've answered Mr. Gardner's questions to his satisfaction. I'm happy to provide this response to him in writing, and of course this response will also be printed in the minutes. Although this correspondence was not treated as a public question as such, on this occasion, with your discretion, Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to accept a supplemental question from Mr. Gardner in line with public questions procedure. Thank you.
Councillor Darks.
Thank you, Chair. Reference Councillor Gallagher's comment, the first question on exclusion of present public. Before I joined this council, I logged for 5 years percentages of exclusion for each of the committee meetings, and allotments is 40% over 5 years. So it's well over 4/10 obviously. Finance and general purposes was 32%, and service and amenities was 28%. So my only comment is, I can understand Mr. Gardner's question. It's very concerning indeed that for 40% of allotments, average over a 5-year period, the public and press have been excluded. I do not call that an open and transparent council. Thank you, Chair.
I will come back on that comment if I will, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, and those figures that Councillor Darks has got relates to what I said there. In allotments, we've had 2 cases of litigation which have caused a high number of exclusions to the press and public. In finance, we've had a high amount of tenders, and we've had the personnel matters. And service and amenities obviously deals with contracts that we have in the park and the various other of our services where we have in the past excluded for the tender process. So those figures match up with the business of this council, and they've all been valid exclusions that we've had to exclude the public from.
Thank you. Councillor Thompson.
Chair, I'm pleased with Councillor Gildar's statement and quite happy to accept it. I personally have quite often asked the question, why is this on the B part of the agenda? As Councillor Gildard says, his statement's going into the minutes, which is fine. I'm not quite sure what he said, but I think the public would be actually interested to know that Mr. Gardner asked those questions, so they themselves should be in the minutes which you responded to.
Thank you. Is Mr. Gardner here tonight?
Chair, if you don't mind, through you, I'll respond in writing to Mr. Geldar's response.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second vote, no.
All those in favour? Thank you very much. Next item of correspondence, members are requested to consider an email from A. Watson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to categorically state for the minutes that the statement by Mr. Watson, his correspondence, is incorrect. He states that a leader is not permitted at a parish or town council, and this is simply not true. Town councils have had the role of leader of the council for many years. Indeed, this council, as far as I know, has certainly had a leader since the 70s. This isn't something that's specific to councils that are led by my party. There's similar examples up and down the UK of Conservative-led councils, Liberal Democrat-led councils that have leaders. In fact, one of the best examples that I've seen of a town council working is Frome Town Council. It's run by majority group style, the Independents for Frome, and they have a leader of the council. Just because the Local Government Act came in 2000 defining the role of a principal authority leader does not mean that this role is not permitted at town councils. There's nothing at all in the Local Government Acts 1972 or 2000 that states that the position of leader is not permitted, as Mr. Watson suggests. What is written in law is that this council cannot give executive authority to a single councillor, and therefore I have no executive authority as the leader. Also under the law, a single councillor other than the mayor cannot receive a special responsibility allowance, and therefore I receive no extra allowance for my work as the leader of the council. The role of the the leader is very important, Mr Mayor. The leader works with senior officers and councillors to develop and propose the strategic direction of the council, hence the council vision which we unanimously agreed in June. As the leader of the council, I have responsibilities with regards to the terms and conditions of the town clerk's contract. I chair the Performance Development Committee, and as leader of the council, I propose the strategic targets for the town clerk and senior management team to that committee, and I keep track of the appraisal targets for our town clerk. Without the role of leader, this work would not be completed, and the most drastic effect of that would be that the council would lose its strategic direction. The people of Spennymoor greatly benefit from this role, which costs nothing to the taxpayer. It is this council's policy to elect a leader of the council, and this will continue to be our policy. Mr Watson sits on Peterlee Town Council, and as such he should focus his efforts on representing the people of his authority and in his ward. That's what his voters elected him to do. I'll continue to do what I was elected to do as the leader of Spennymoor Town Council. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Mr Mayor, I second the leader's comments.
Right. Councillor Dawes.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome Councillor Gillard's statement, but I feel we need irrefutable evidence. I've done my own checking into a simple question: can a town or parish council have a leader? The answer is no. The legislation allowing council leaders only apply to principal authorities. Town and parish councils were excluded from that legislation. Town and parish councils have chairmen and towns may have a mayor. So I would like to request, Chair, that I'd like to see Councillor Gillard's evidence supporting what he said. And then I'm only too happy to agree with it.
Councillor Harrington.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As a former leader and also a member of the larger local councils committee of NALC in London, it is policy, now national policy, that where leaders are needed or wanted in town and parish councils, particularly of the larger sort like ours, that it is their policy to pursue that matter forthwith. That was something that was brought forward by the Durham Association and the larger local councils committee in London some 4 years ago, and it's still on the statute books. The reference to the 2000 and 2002 local government acts do not preclude the establishment of a leader of council. My comment.
Councillor Madison.
Chair, Councillor Darts posed a question to the council for clarification on that. I would like to have it moved that we do get that clarification, so we're perfectly satisfied with the statement made by Councillor Darts.
Can I help by responding to that? I think the clearest way to actually resolve this matter is by referring to the now legal topic note on this. It's been redrafted on several occasions, most recently in August 2014. There's only one paragraph, so with your permission, Mr Mayor, I'd like to read it to the Chamber. It says, a local council has no statutory authority to elect a leader. However, some politically divided or larger councils do so. The leader of the council is often chosen by the group of councillors that has the political majority on the council. The role of a leader of a local council is not intended to undermine the role of the chairman of the council or the chairman of a meeting. However, a leader may be instrumental in raising business for consideration at a meeting or lobbying other councillors on an issue. The leader has the same formal standing as any other councillor. Like other councillors, the leader has no authority to discharge a council's statutory functions. The position has always been at Spennymoor Town Council, going back to probably 1974, on the creation of the Town Council following the demise of the Urban District Council, has been to appoint a leader. We did that before the Local Government Act 2000. The legal position is the Local Government Act 2000 refers only to principal councils, and it has been inferred that because that only applies to principal councils, that we as a town council cannot have a leader. It's recognised by now that having a leader of the town council is a sensible thing to do, and that is not the policy as Councillor Harrington's outlined. The situation in law is that whilst there's no statutory authority to elect a leader, there is actually nothing in law that prohibits the election of a leader, provided the leader of the council does not operate in an executive manner and make decisions in their own right or receive an allowance. And that's the position that this town council has always taken. As Councillor Geldart rightly said, matters have been delegated to the leader's position over the past in council meetings with regard to my employment contract and engagement. In relation to matters referring to standing orders, which is one of the matters that Mr Watson, who isn't, as I think the leader's made clear, either a ratepayer or an elector of this town, he's indicated that he thinks that our standing orders are ultra vires. If I can clarify that matter, there are standing orders which in law we as a town council cannot change or alter, and they are the ones that are shown in bold in your member officer handbook. There is nothing to prevent the democratic majority of this council chamber of actually making standing orders that relates specifically to the leader of the council, as you have done in the past many years ago with regard to my appointment and terms and conditions of employment. Hopefully that clarifies matters in relation to the legal position. If I can just reiterate, I would refer you to now legal topic note LTN 1, which was updated in August 2014. Thank you.
So now we've got the town clerk's answers clarification as requested.
Councillor Madison, you had an amendment.
Yes, it was an amendment, yes, to seek clarification. I can see what the town clerk is referring to as now, but I'm looking for the Act of Parliament. Is it legal for a leader in this town council? And I just think that, you know, it can be a wish list for the local government association, but it's whether or not statutorily a town council can have a leader.
I think that's been
When we already have the person who signs the documents, which is yourself, Mayor, as the official spokesperson for the town council. So I would like that request to go forward, that we seek further clarification on it as an act.
I think that's been answered, but if you have a second, then we can vote on it. Councillor Thompson, you want to comment?
Councillor Miles first.
Councillor Miles.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. If we all the members can remember, the late Councillor Waters, when he was leader, with Clark Lane was Bob Blizzard, and he told Waters that he would negotiate with him, he would only negotiate with the mayor or the chairmen of the appropriate committees. He took that on board and he went to NAC, and it's exactly, it came back exactly what the town clerk's referred to today. And I believe that this man wasn't good as not like after that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm no legal expert. I don't think you need to be a legal expert to know that if something isn't written in the law, it doesn't mean it's illegal. You don't have to say in the law everything you can do to be able to do it. There's no law that says I can paint my garage door white, but I can. There's no law that says we can't have a leader and we can have a leader. It's as simple as that. There's nothing in the law that says we can't have the position of leader of the council and therefore we can have the position of leader of the council. It's as simple as that.
I think the town clerk clarified that.
I agree.
Councillor Graham?
Yes, Chair, yes. I would have thought Councillor Madison would have sought clarification back in 2009 when I was leader of the council. because she was nominated by a member of her own party for position of leader at Spennymoor Town Council.
Right, well, let's vote on, have a vote on Mrs. Patterson's.
Mr. Mayor, can we have a recorded vote on this amendment, please?
Mrs. Patterson's motion for clarification first. All those in favour? All those against? Thank you. Now for the leader's comments in relation to this correspondence, which has been seconded. All those in favour? Those against?
Yeah, if you don't mind, if you can just sort of hold your hands up and keep them up so the committee administrator gets the names recorded.
All those against? Any abstentions?
Mr. Mayor, can I clarify that when we were doing that, I did not say Councillor Madison or Councillor Mrs. Thompson's hand go up at any point.
Well, that's why I've just asked for abstentions.
There's two abstentions.
Item number 9, the Democratic Structure Report. Members are requested to consider the previously circulated report from the Town Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, the report's already been considered. The recommendations are set out therein. I don't really have anything to add to those recommendations.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I start by thanking the Town Clerk for a report, further thank her and the senior officers for the months of hard work that have already gone into this Council's organisational review. The report in front of members today addresses the most significant proposed change to the workings of this Council since this Council was incepted in 1974. The decisions taken on the basis of this report will without a doubt radically alter how we operate as a Council going forward, so we must remain fit for purpose in the current day. It was for this reason that when the report was first brought to Council in October, I requested for it to be deferred until now to allow further consideration by members. The reforms suggested in this report will see the abolition of the old committee system to be replaced with 3 standing committees. A Policy and Resources Committee dealing with this Council's finances, personnel and administration, a Recreation and Facilities Committee overseeing the operation of the majority of our services, and a new Spennymoor Area Enhancement Committee which will take on board consultation with key partners such as the County Council to ensure that we as a Town Council can have an involvement in aspects of the town which are not directly under our control, such as planning. Whereas we agree in basis with the Town Clerk's report, there are a number of detailed amendments to the proposals and recommendations printed in the report which I move tonight. For clarity and expediency, I've provided my motion in written form to all members prior to the meeting. I've also provided the same handout to the Minutes Officer for inclusion in the record of the meeting. Mr. Mayor, I move that number 1, this council accept the recommendations 1 and 2 as described in the report. Number 2, that this council accept recommendation 3 with the following amendments to the town clerk's referred proposals. Firstly, that in contrast with proposal number 7, all members of this council sit on all standing committees. Secondly, that this council believe that the current system, which allows the standing orders to be waived to allow immediate action in respect of urgent items of business, is sufficient to address the comments made in the town clerk's proposal 10. And thirdly, that in contrast with proposal 12, the membership of the Spennymoor Area Enhancement Committee include only the 22 elected members of Spennymoor Town Council. I further move, Mr Mayor, in number 3 on the handout, that this council accept recommendation 4 with the following amendments to the proposed terms of reference for the standing committees. Firstly, that the initial line of each of the terms of reference referring to memberships of the committees in proposals 7 and 12 be replaced with the committee shall be comprised of all members of the council. Secondly, that the management of the council's establishment as regard the appointment and dismissal of staff, terms and conditions of employment and overall management of the council's employees, including terms and conditions of their employment, be added to the terms of reference for the Policy and Resources Committee. Thirdly, that and crematoria be removed from item P of the terms of reference for the Facilities and Recreation Committee, as this area of business is already provided for by the Policy and Resources Committee. And lastly that the consideration of correspondence from external organisations such as NAL, the NAC and CDEL be added to the terms of reference for the Spennymoor Area Enhancement Committee. Number 4, Mr Mayor, that in contrast with the last recommendation, their recommendation 5, this council do not revise the start time of meetings, and that the meetings of this council and its standing committees begin at 6:45 p.m. Number 5, Mr Mayor, that the monthly cycle of meetings is scheduled such that typically in week 1, the Policy and Resources Committee meets, followed immediately on the rising of that committee by the Spennymoor Area Enhancement Committee. Following on from that in week 2, the Recreation and Facilities Committee will meet, and followed by that, the meeting of full council, typically in week 4. Lastly, Mr Mayor, I move that these changes are implemented for the June 2015 cycle of meetings, following the annual meeting of this council in May 2015. Thank you.
Mr Mayor, second motion. Councillor Thompson.
I'd like to make one comment. In general, I think we all agree with it. It's time for what it always re-looked at. But back in September, I put a motion forward trying to get a committee formed where the public would have more input. And so on item 2, where it says that in contrast with proposal 12, the membership of Spennymoor Action Area Enhancement Committee include all 22 elected members of Spennymoor Town Council. IGO standing orders provide the opportunity for members of the public at the chair's discretion to ask a question. But I would like something extra put into the standing orders so that the public have more involvement in that committee. I do believe it's set up there for that to happen. So where on that one, I'd like to make an amendment, but I'm not quite sure how we would do it. I did get some form of commitment from Councillor Geldart that he would look at that. So I'm going to take him on trust on that the chair of that committee will make it more easy and more accessible for the public to come and ask questions and present problems. Thank you, Mr Chair.
Mr Mayor, in response to Councillor Thompson, I have no problem with greater public involvement in any of our meetings, and I would encourage so. And as part of the run-up to the AGM, we'll be reviewing all of the standing orders, as we always do, which will include the public questions procedure.
Councillor Madison.
Yes, Chair, I also agree in principle with the amendments put forward by Councillor Geldart. But I would also like to draw attention to the Spennymoor Area Enhancement Committee, where it details under D and E, Spennymoor Town Centre. I do think, as regards to any business ventures and failures that may crop up anywhere in the parish, that we should also include Spennymoor Parish as well as Spennymoor town centre. Additional to this, I would also like to say that in accepting the amendments, I have assumed that all matters that are currently presented to the current standing committees are included in any future standing committee, and that none have subsequently changed with the reorganisation. And I want some assurance with regard to that. Thank you.
As far as I understand, Mr Mayor, firstly on Councillor Madison's last point, there's no suggestion here for greater delegation of officers. It is my expectation, the expectation of this group, that we will still be consulted as a council, we still have to make decisions on the same legal remit that we operate. I have no problem with what Councillor Madison's saying in looking at the business ventures that are outside necessarily the town centre. That's fine.
Thank you. Are you wanting an amendment?
Yes, Chair, with regard to the clarification, what I was also saying is that the current standing committees have a range of items that we currently discuss. When we produce the new committees, that those same items will continue to come forward to council, and that is the assurance that I'm looking for.
So, Mr Mayor, with respect to Councillor Madison, what we've got at the minute is 4 terms of reference for 4 committees. What we want to have is 3 terms of reference for 3 committees, and the entire business of this council is still covered in the substantive terms of reference for the package of committees.
Okay. So, have you got a second for your original amendment?
No, I'm not putting in an amendment here because of clarification. I haven't got that clarification. Okay.
Well, we've had a second from the leader's amendment. All those in favour?
Mr Mayor, can we have a recorded vote on this, please?
All those against? Any abstentions? Thank you. We move on to item 10. The budget for 2015. Members are requested to consider the report from the Finance and Administration Manager. That's what we've got.
Just note that our budgets are also requested to report on this item following discussion and presentation of the report.
Second that.
Leader?
I'll wait for the officer first, Mr Mayor.
The draft budget, which you should have in the packet, was originally discussed at the full council meeting on the 16th of December and agreed to. However, I would like to bring attention to some of the views and changes within it. Firstly, on point 3.8, the Central Durham Joint Planetarium. I mentioned the fact that I hadn't had clarification about the additional 20,000 grant. Since then, I have been constantly in touch with Durham Council, and I have received an email to say that we will be receiving that additional 20,000. Also, as per discussions at the time, it was mentioned that if we received it, that it would go in towards the capital programme. Consequently, I've put in the additional 20,000, but I've also put in that the expenditure will be shown against the capital programme, therefore it has a nil effect on the budget. The other 2 items that I have sort of amended on is on the photocopying budget. These are shown in point 5.10. I'd originally reduced the photocopying budget, but since then I've increased it back to, well, slightly increased it to 5,000. To cover that, I've reduced the education and training budget. So again, there's like a nil effect on the budget. One item which wasn't originally in the document on the 16th of December was a review on freezing charges. This is something that we may need discussion about. as to whether we are going to increase anything. There's been no increase on these since 2012. But I've attached what the current charges are for your discussion. As I mentioned at the time, we need to look at the localised council tax support scheme. This current year we have had a reduction in what we are receiving, and there is the danger that in future years we may not get this at all. So that's one aspect we need to look at. As I mentioned, on the appendix 1, I've sort of put in about if the precinct was in what level it would be increased by per percentage, and it was discussed on the 16th and approved that 1.99 would be acceptable. Since sort of there is an aspect which is coming included in appendix 7, where there's been an email received, so going back to the localised council tax, there was an email received about the changes, and there is going to be there has been a consultation. My response to this report was tabled to the Services and Amenities Committee on the 13th of January. I've included that in the pack as well, and a consequent email since then. There's also been an email regarding the pension scheme, which again is included in the pack appendix 9. That's another sort of financial implication which could in future years impact on us. Currently, I've been sort of told the percentage of we as an employer are paying is sufficient to cover the deficit, but like I say, there was this paper brought out just for information only really. It's not something that's going to impact on us in the next financial year, but it's something that we need to keep in mind for future years. Sort of in conclusion to all that sort of thing, we're asking you to look at the draft budget, taking into account the factors that I've mentioned at the end, and any comments on it? Sort of consider the draft budget, taking into account the consultation and then proposed changes. Has anybody got any questions?
Leader?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can I begin by thanking the Finance and Admin Manager for all of the hard work in producing the final draft of this year's budget. The first draft of this budget was presented to the Council in December, and I reported back then that substantial work was gone into the process, not least from the Finance and Admin Manager, but also from the Town Clerk and Facilities Manager. Also, the Chairman and Vice Chairman of each of the standing committees who have been extensively involved in meetings along with myself and the Deputy Leader to ensure that the Council vision which we presented in June can be realised. The main aspect of contention in that first draft budget, as members will remember, was the provision of fees for the allotments consultant. I'm going to reiterate what I said in December on this one, that although we've just appointed a grounds and estates officer, that new post holder has a lot to learn about our organisation. He's got a lot of holes to fill in the current operation of our organisation, and he's got much more to consider than just our allotments estate. And, Mr. Mayor, the key strategic target in our unanimously agreed vision to renew our allotment tenancy agreement this year, it would be extremely unwise, in my opinion, to part company with our allotments consultants, who will no doubt be an important vessel in delivering this change in this same year. In accepting the budget tonight, we will commit to engaging with our allotments consultants until April 2016. Mr. Mayor, I move that Council accepts the final draft budget as per the recommendations in the report.
Councillor
Mr. Mayor.
Chair, it has already been stated to have it as a named and recorded vote, so I would like that to take place, but also for our comments also to be noted in the minutes. As this is the second draft budget, I'd like to know when the final budget will be presented, and if this final budget will give us clarification on the figures for the organisational review. As it stands, we cannot accept this draft budget, as we previously stated when the first draft was submitted, that we cannot agree to a budget that includes a further 12 months for the allotment consultant. We now employed a full-time grounds and parks manager who is responsible for allotments. The parks manager has already worked for us for circa 2 to 3 months, and will have a further 2 months with the consultant prior to this end of this financial year. The budget that's being presented includes a further 12 months for the allotment consultant, so members will say that is a considerable timescale for a handover. A 4-month handover period should be sufficient in line with normal business practice. We are prepared to accept a 1.99 increase in the precept, providing the £24,500 of costs included in the budget for the allotment consultant is put into general reserves, which has fallen below the recommended level, and also that the organisational review figures are clarified when the next budget and final budget is presented.
Okay, any more comments? Councillor Harrington.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'm severely disheartened. Severely. Because we have someone who's worked for us both as a member of the workforce and in a consultancy basis these last few years, whose loyalty to this town council and whose commitment to this town council, I will personally say, is exemplary.
Yeah.
A man who has spent a lot more time than we've actually paid him on sorting out some of the problems that have, or trying to sort out some of the problems that have resulted. We have more allotment sites per population and more actual sites on plots on allotments than any other town in England of approximately the same size. And this is something that we are quite proud to be able to hold on to and manage. And part of that, and the reorganisation that went on when the allotment consultant was appointed, is through to him. His knowledge, his expertise, his good humour, and that's like water in the desert sometimes. And here we are, as if he's going to be treated like some old shoe that's no longer required and cast aside onto the rubbish heap. I am severely saddened by hearing comments like that. An extra 12 months to hand over, or a further 12 months to hand over, and make sure that the handover goes right and isn't rushed, I think is money well spent.
Councillor Thompson.
Chair, Councillor Harrington is trying to reflect that we are ill-feeling towards the consultant. We do not. So as we are concerned, Chair, can I sit down and let Councillor Nelson say what he's got to say, and then I'll stand back up?
Right, say exactly what I just said.
Can you stand up, please? Yes.
Councillor Thompson, I don't think such comments were made by the Councillor Harrington at all.
Chair,
Councillor Thompson.
we still say that the allotment consultant should not be on for 12 months. We just want to clarify that we think Alfie has done a good job with the time that's come for the new, we've just created a new structure. If, as Councillor Harrington states, we've got all these problems, we should have created something else in the structure to cover for it. Thank you.
Okay. So, do we have
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We've had a bit of discussion there on the allotments consultant. I knew we would, that's why I tried to head it off in the initial speech there. What we've got is a situation where our allotments estate is not solved. The problems are not all solved. And we've got 12 months now to get there. We've got an allotments consultant that we've had in place for years, that has the knowledge, the experience and the expertise needed to get our new tenancy agreement sorted out. Now, if we get rid of all of that expertise all at once, on the whim, that we've got a new grounds and estate officer in there who has not worked for us for 2 or 3 months, he was only hired last month. If we do that, then we've got severe problems. This man, anything could happen. This man has a 6-month probationary period. And I'm not trying to preempt that something will go wrong, but what if it does? We've lost everything from that experience. This is not a good idea to get rid of the allotments consultant. We've considered this. It's not like we're going to be paying this guy, Mr. Clayton, to sit and twiddle his thumbs for 12 months. There's a lot of work to do out on those allotments to get our allotment service running right. That's what our priority is, to get our services running right, not to cut costs when it's unnecessarily needed to be cut costs. We'll protect our services and we'll make sure that this vision is seen right the way through and properly.
Have we got a seconder for Mrs. Madison's amendment? Okay. Well, I think we should vote on the amendment, Councillor Madison.
Chair, I would like to just add a correction to something that Councillor Bradford stated. He stated that we just employed the gentleman who got the position of Grounds and Parks Manager last month. I do believe that that gentleman was working as a consultant for the council and doing some of the areas for the allotments prior to that.
Okay, thank you. So let's have a vote on Councillor Madison's amendment first of all. All those in favour?
Excuse me. Would you mind, for the benefit of the administrator, in actually expressing what your amendment was again, Councillor Madison? There's been quite a lot of debate.
Well, what I said was that I wanted the statement recorded, and I'll present that through to you. But we are prepared to accept a 1.99% increase in the precept, providing the £24,500 cost included in the budget for the allotment consultant is put into general reserves, which has fallen below the recommended level, and the organisational review figures are clarified. I've also stated that we cannot accept the draft budget as it has been presented, which includes this cost and excludes the organisational review cost.
All those against? Any abstentions? Thank you.
Question. Just reference to the capital programme. How much have we spent so far this year on the capital programme?
We have various projects, like a structural survey.
Start private.
Yeah.
Item 11 on the agenda.
We need to vote on the original motion.
All right, okay. I'm voting on the amendment, we need to vote on the original motion. Proposed and seconded. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? Right, item 11 on the agenda, presentations. Town Mayor will present cheques in relation to allocated Section 137 grants. actually only one presentation and there doesn't appear to be a recipient in the public gallery.
Move to vote, Mr. Mayor. Second, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All those in favour of deferring it? Thank you. Item number 12, presentation to the town there. Representatives of Spennymoor Town Band will be in attendance to present the town there and checking in the charity appeal.
Mr Mayor, councillors, ladies and gentlemen, Spennymoor Town Band was reformed in this town in 1982, the junior band. Since that date, Spennymoor Town Band are indebted to this council for financial contributions and, just as important, moral support. Wherever possible, the banders play at events organised by the Town Council and by other organisations that support the township. At a recent committee meeting of the Town Band, attended by one of the council representatives of the band, it was unanimously agreed that the band make a contribution to the town mayor's charity from some of the money we made during Christmas playing, because it's a good time for the bands to raise money. We also thought it was a good opportunity to just in some way thank the town council for their support. So it's a small donation of £200 for Spennymoor Town Band and Youth Band to the mayor's charity.
Thanks very much, Julie. I would like you to take our grateful thanks back to the town band for this generous donation. And I think everybody in the chamber will be of the opinion, as I am, that the town band is one of the best in the North East, and it really adds to our events when the town band is there.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item 13 on the agenda are changes in audit requirements for Central Durham Crematorium Joint Committees. Members are requested to note the report from the Finance and Administration Manager.
This is the information only really. It's about the changes in the joint committee which relates to, for us it relates to the crematorium. Previously, Durham County Council had to compile the SOAP accounts and they were told who their external auditors were going to be, which is the BDO. Under the new sort of rules, they don't need to do this small bodies return, and they've been given guidance as to who they can actually appoint as external auditors. I believe Durham is planning to use their own external auditors, which hopefully will save some money as well. However, like I said, on the reporting side, Durham County Council have taken the stand that they're going to continue reporting as they have done in the past. In effect, there's no real changes to us, but this was something I thought I would bring forward so that members were aware of this change in requirement, although it isn't actually going to impact on us at all.
Yes, Chair, I'd like to thank our accounts manager for the report and the information. This was presented at the Crematorium Joint Committee last Wednesday, and it went through unanimously. I'd like to propose that we accept the information.
Second that.
Councillor Madison.
Yes, Chair, just for clarification, and I noted what the our accountant has said on this one, that we will, as being appointed part of the Joint Crematorium Committee, receive all the appropriate information to ourselves, which in turn will be reported back to the council. And also, I would like to ask if we will receive a copy of the audited report.
My understanding is that as far as we're concerned, there's going to be no change. We'll still sort of be getting all the information that we have received in the past, and then you say the auditor's report as well. Like I said, that is my understanding. As far as we're concerned, there's going to be no changes in the way it's been reported in the past and in the future. There is attached the reports that Durham has actually took. So they've said that there's going to be no changes as well.
The item concerns the audit or non-audit of the accounts, not any more information. Councillor Foster.
Yeah, ready for clarification. I sit on that body as a representative of the authority, so I'll take part in this.
Do I have a second there for?
Yes, I second it.
Oh, sorry, you did, yes. All those in favour? Any against? Thank you very much.
Chair, may I just ask, seeing that Councillor Foster's made that statement, should I be prepared to rest of the council? Right?
I would have thought so.
Or should I declare the matrix?
Well,
It was really just lots of information. Thank you very much for your attendance.